Greetings from National Academy of Medical Sciences, India. Focusing on NAMS Vision 2030, NAMS is pleased to share some of the important activities like NAMS National, International Fellowship and Membership, Member After Day NBEAM NAMS, NAMS Task Forces, AIMS NAMS Navigate Medico CME, CME activities, publication of annals, newsletter, networking with professionals, public orations, Young Scientist Fellowship, Scientist Exchange Program, scientific visit of Emeritus Professor and many more activities. All application forms for fellowship, membership, associate fellowship, and member after day NB have been made online and objective criteria from the year 2022. NAMS has also started a new online AIMS NAMS Navigate CME and Navigate Medico CME program to assist in the development of competencies among PG students and share multimedia learning resource materials as e-library. NAMS has also started 21 task forces to address medical issues of national importance. Under publication activities, NAMS has its own annal as Annal of the National Academy of Medical Sciences. In addition, NAMS also publishes its quarterly NAMS newsletter. For more details of NAMS activities, please visit our NAMS website www.nams-india.in or scan QR codes with the camera app.
Good evening, sir. Good afternoon, sir. सर आप म्यूट पे हैं सर.
ओके. तो कैसे हो?
सर मैं अच्छा हूँ सर. आप कैसे हैं सर?
मैं ठीक हूँ. अभी कहाँ पर हो आजकल?
सर एम्स देवघर में ही हूँ सर. अभी
देवघर में. अभी आज देवघर से ही बोल रहे हो?
जी सर, देवघर से ही सर.
अच्छा, चलिए, दैट्स गुड. So good to see you, and you're continuing with the NAMS activities, and that's very good.
थैंक यू सर.
तो वाइफ कहाँ पे है आजकल?
सर वाइफ का भी एग्जाम है सर अभी इसी नेक्स्ट वीक सर. तो दिल्ली में है अभी. एग्जाम के बाद दिल बी शिफ्टिंग टू देवघर से.
ठीक. डीएनबी का एग्जाम है?
डीएनबी का एग्जाम सर.
गुड इवनिंग सर.
हाँ जी, गुड इवनिंग. तो प्रीति कैसे हैं?
सर आई एम फाइन सर.
चलिए, गुड. तो जसवंत कितने रखे हैं इस बार लेक्चर इसमें? हाँ, म्यूट हो गया है.
जी सर. जी सर. यस सर.
हाँ, कितने लेक्चर रखे हैं उसमें सेक्रेटरी के?
सर नैम्स के लिए सर.
हाँ.
सर अभी तो आपका ही एक नोटिफिकेशन आया है सर. बाकी किसी का प्लान अभी नहीं हुआ है सर.
अच्छा.
कमिंग वीक में मे बी.
ठीक है. ठीक. गुड.
नमस्कार सर. कौन है?
Recording in progress.
जसवंत स्लाइड शेयर कर दूं मैं क्या?
सर बस अभी वो कर देते हैं सर. एक बार इंट्रोडक्शन हो जाता है.
नहीं, चेकिंग के लिए.
जी सर. श्योर. यस सर प्लीज.
हाँ, चेकिंग के लिए कह रहा हूँ मैं.
जी सर.
ठीक है, इट्स फाइन.
यस सर.
ठीक. ओके. तो क्या अभी मैं इसको बंदी कर रहा हूँ.
Greetings from National Academy of Medical Sciences, India. NAMS has been recognized by the Government of India as a nodal agency for promoting the continuing medical education for medical and allied health professionals. National Academy of Medical Sciences encourages and sponsors nationwide CME programs, symposia and workshops in basic sciences and applied clinical disciplines. In the virtual meeting held on 13 December 2022, more than 200 directors, deans, principals, CEOs, faculty members of the medical colleges and medical institutes decided unanimously that there is a need for the NAMS National Virtual Graduated Medical CME, Navigate Medico CME, program for PG students, MD, MS, DNB, MDS. Accordingly, the Navigate Medico CME program was launched on 22 January 2023 by the NAMS President, Professor Dr. S.K. Sareen. Each online session is of 2 hours covering practical aspects as per the needs of the PG students in the identified theme areas. Thank you for your kind support.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the next NAMS Navigate CME program. And today there is very important and very different topic which hasn't been covered till date with NAMS. And this topic is historical trend and policy development on alcohol and substance use disorder and behavioral addictions. And today we have with us our esteemed speaker, Professor Rakesh Kumar Chadda. Sir, welcome, sir. And so we'll be privileged to listen to you, sir, today. So with this, I would like to request Professor Umesh Kapil, sir, for the welcome address for Professor Rakesh Kumar Chadda, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jaswant. On behalf of the National Academy of Medical Sciences, it is my great privilege to welcome the distinguished speaker for this evening, Dr. Rakesh Chadda, sir. Sir has been earlier the chairperson of the NAMS Task Force on Alcohol and Substance Abuse Disorders, and this report again is available on the website. Sir, we are really grateful to you for your time and support to this Navigate Medico CME program, and we look forward for your support in future also. I also take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, which include the faculty members from various medical institutions, as well as the postgraduate student. I will again like to say it is your program, and you are welcome to give your suggestion, and especially to the faculty members, I will request that you can come forward and also suggest topics and act as a resource person. So once again, I welcome you all to this very interesting session, and I'm sure all of us are going to get benefited from this very important session. Over to you, Dr. Jaswant.
जसवंत सर आप म्यूट हैं.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for the welcome address. Now, I would like to briefly introduce our esteemed speaker, Professor Rakesh Kumar Chadda, sir. Sir has been worked as professor in the Department of Psychiatry at AIIMS New Delhi for around 19 years, and currently, sir is professor and head in the Department of Psychiatry at Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Faridabad. Sir headed the department, and sir was also the chief of National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, AIMS, New Delhi, for 7 years. Sir, headed the chair of President-elect of prestigious organization World Association of Social Psychiatry. Sir is past president of Indian Association of Social Psychiatry. Sir is honored with a fellow from Royal College of Psychiatrists of United Kingdom. Sir is also International Distinguished Fellow of American Psychiatric Association. He is also Honorary Fellow, World Association for Social Psychiatry, and he is honorary member of World Psychiatric Association. He is also Fellow of National Academy of Medical Sciences of India. Sir has also worked as section editor of British Journal of Psychiatry and handling editor of British Journal of Psychiatry International. Sir is a recipient of 14 national awards in psychiatry. Sir has more than 340 publications to his credit, including 14 books and monographs. So this is just a brief, and there is more to tell about sir. So with this, I would like to welcome Professor Rakesh Kumar Chadha sir to bless us with his kind words and his wisdom on this very, very important topic, which I have been in psychiatry for 7 years. I'm second time listening, but this this much detail I'm listening to for the first time. So it's a privilege to listen to you, sir. Over to you, sir, Professor Chadha sir.
Can I share screen?
Sir, screen abhi nahi hai. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jaswant, and warm good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank National Academy of Medical Sciences, Dr. S.K. Sareen, Dr. Umesh Kapil, Dr. Ajay Sood for inviting me for this talk, which is on basically substance use disorders, which includes alcohol use disorder and behavioral addictions. So broadly, it covers all the areas of addiction psychiatry. Since this topic was very broad, so I thought I'll be discussing about some of the issues which are not frequently discussed. That's the historical trends and policy development. So what I would like to discuss in this is historical origins of substance use with specific focus on India, burden and disability due to substance use disorders, stigma, myths and misconceptions which often prevent the persons, the families or the patients to seek medical help, current status of substance use disorders, behavioral addictions, and certain policy initiatives at the level of WHO and level of Government of India. Mankind has been using substances since time immemorial, and India has not been any exception to this universal historical trend. If we go by our ancient history, consumption of alcohol by asuras, that is Danavas or demons, and the gods, this has been mentioned in many mythological texts. Recreational and medicinal use of alcohol, opium, and cannabis has been present since long. And some of these have also been described in our ancient medical texts. Use of bhang is often popularized as Shivka Prasad is commonly used during the festivals of Holi and other festivities. If we trace our history over the last 1000 years or during the Mughal period, because of the Islamic traditions, use of alcohol had come down during that period, but that was associated with increase in the recreational use of opioids. And during that period, cultivation of opium was also encouraged by the rulers. Now, coming further, during the British era, opium farming and trade were regulated by the government to increase the state revenue. So, this phenomena of revenue has existed, uh, uh, revenue generation from selling or production of the substances of abuse has existed since long, 200, 300 years, or maybe it was present earlier also. And during this period, around 180 years ago, there was a famous British-China opium war, which was in the opium trade to China was in the background. And in the later period, the British tried to curb and control the use of opium in India, distributing it through opium registries. And some of this has continued in some of the states like Rajasthan. There are this is being regulated by the government. The opium is sold by outlets which are controlled by the government. Now, post-independence, the medicalized use of opium came down, but use of licit and illicit alcohol and drugs increased. So this is the trend which we have been facing for last 40, 50 years. And in fact, last 20 years, there has been a tremendous rise in the use of alcohol. The number of factors, globalization, westernization, and one of the additional thing is the price of alcohol has over the period come down in the last 50, 60 years. If we see the price in comparing to the price index, the alcohol price has come down. For example, one can have a 1/4 of cheaper alcohol of Indian made foreign liquor for just 80 rupees or 100 rupees, the cheaper brands, and even the price of milk is 60, 70 rupees per liter. So we can understand how even cup of tea you would cost 10 to 20 rupees. So alcohol is much cheaper compared to earlier period and in comparison to the cost or prices of other commodities. In recent times, there have been a number of geopolitical developments, especially India has been stuck between two major opium growing regions, that is the Golden Triangle, which is on the eastern side of India, having countries of Laos, Myanmar and Thailand, and the Golden Crescent, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. So large amounts of opioids are smuggled into India from the borders and it's trafficked. In the 70s, the Russian invasion in Afghanistan, followed by the US intervention, the Indo-Pak conflict, the number of Khalistan movements, LTTE movement in Sri Lanka, all these opioid trade had been the background to fund these wars and to create situation, political turmoil in the specific countries or states, like in the state of Punjab. So, which had been there was a rise in the drug abuse, especially the heroin in the form of smack, which started in late 70s, 80s, and it has continued till now. Over the period, raw opium, which has been used over last 100, 150 years, especially in the agriculture in Punjab and Rajasthan, which has been gradually replaced by heroin. Why it has been replaced by heroin? Reason being, it can be easily transported, it's less bulky, it's more potent, and leads to greater rush when injected. So that's the background in which heroin use has become much more common in the last 30, 40 years in our country, and replacing the opium, raw opium, the doda, or so, which was very commonly used in the, especially in the agricultural labor. And India has been one of the largest producer of licit opioids, like the opioid group of drugs, opioid groups which are used in a medicinal purpose, and some of it gets into illegal market also. If we further analyze the situation across the world, drug use is a worldwide problem. And it's a very small fraction of small percentages, around 1/6 of people who use drugs, they are able to get treatment. The World Drug Report of 2023 found that only 1 in 17 people in the age of 15 to 64 had used a drug in the past 12 months. And there has been a marked increase in the number of users from 240 million in 2011 to 296 million in 2021. Thus, around 6% of the global population uses drugs, and there has been 23% increase in the population, in drug using population over a period of 10 years. Cannabis remains the most commonly used illicit drug with nearly 219 million users. This is a 4% of the global adult population. Other drugs like amphetamines, ecstasy, and cocaine, they are less commonly used. And there are nearly 13.2 million, 1.3 crores injection drug users in 2021, which was 18% higher than in 2020. So this is a very serious problem, injection drug use, because the risk of HIV is 35 times higher in IDUs than in the non-IDUs. And then 23% of new hepatitis C infections were attributable to unsafe drug injections. Now, when we consider opioid and cannabis use in India, these are two commonly used illicit drugs in India. Opium poppy has been cultivated in India since 10th century. In fact, opium is listed as a remedy in Ayurveda in a variety of ailments. And opioid addiction was originally managed by raw opium, which was provided in a regulated fashion, similar to agonist maintenance therapy, which is used these days. As I earlier mentioned, opioid use was given to the agriculture labor by the landowners. In the parallel, cannabis, it has been a part of religious festivities in the form of bhang, which is the wet resinous leaves of cannabis plant formed into pills or sweets or milk, and also by smoking the flowering buds of the cannabis plant. The practice of use of cannabis has been mentioned in Vedas also. So these practices have existed since ancient period. Cannabis-induced psychosis has been recognized. There have been publications from India starting from 1960s, early 70s, and now cannabis has been identified one of the I think probably it's one of the evidence-based high-risk factor which increases the risk of developing schizophrenia. This is a new development in the last 5-6 years that this evidence has emerged. Medicinal use of cannabis in terminal patients is debated, but it's being used. Now, another drug, tobacco, which is a part of licit drugs, the drugs which are socially sanctioned. Tobacco use has also been present since long in India in the form of chewing, smoking bidis, hookah. Hookah has been a part of rural cultures. Smokeless tobacco is very, very common in the northern India, northern and eastern India, which is equally dangerous. In the last 2 decades, with the many initiatives under the National Tobacco Control Program in India, the smoking came down, but its place has been taken by smokeless tobacco. On tobacco use, WHO in 2023 has designated tobacco as a global epidemic. So that's means the problem of tobacco use is so common all across the world, and it leads to so many medical issues, respiratory problems, lung cancer, oral cancer. So it has been recognized as and is associated with increased morbidity as well as mortality. So it has been designated as an epidemic by the WHO. And recently, the so-called e-cigarettes, that's the electronic nicotine delivery system, that's a new entry and which has been brought by the tobacco industry, that this is a safer alternative compared to the cigarettes, which is completely wrong. And in that background, the government of India has come with a prohibition of Electronic Cigarettes Act 2019 to prevent its use in India. This was one of the latest initiatives by the government of India to control in the area of substance use control. Now, all of us are aware that substance use is associated with number of medical issues. It's a recognized disorder. Addiction psychiatry is a recognized subspecialty of psychiatry or addiction medicine. In some of the countries, it's comes under addiction medicine. But there is a huge treatment gap. Internationally, as I also, the World Drug Reports of last 4 years have especially mentioned, pointed out that only 1 out of 6 drug users seeks treatment. This World Drug Report generally concentrates on illicit drugs because the issue of alcohol and tobacco is taken by the WHO, whereas the UNDCP, UNODC, which releases the World Drug Report, their area is only illicit drugs such as cannabis, opioids, and stimulants, and that group of drugs. So this is only 1 in 6 drug users seek treatment, and in lower and middle countries, income countries, this figure reaches almost only 10%, like 90% of the persons, they are not able to get any treatment. There's so many misconceptions associated with drug use. Drug use is considered a habit, it's not an illness. Society's attitude is often conflictual. Drug use like alcohol and tobacco, they are a part of, and cannabis, they are part of ceremonies, festivities. Use of alcohol, recreational use of alcohol in marriages and other festivals is so common. So a kind of dilemma is there in the society. The state and also follows a dual standard. Industry comes out with surrogate advertisements. Alcohol and tobacco are two major revenue generators. So the governments avoid taking very strict actions. Recently, WHO's report on global tobacco epidemic, that is 2021, commented that while pandemics caused by viruses, this was in the background of the coronavirus, COVID pandemic, that while pandemics caused by the viruses are difficult to prevent, the stealthy and ever-growing pandemic caused by tobacco is wholly and morally preventable, but still it's continuing. So there are new challenges. WHO has also recognized the challenge of e-cigarettes. Here I have just shown 2 advertisements. One advertisement is of our then Vice President, Shri Venkata Naidu is there. And in the background is the advertisement by Rajnikandha. And this was a Times of India festival. And the other advertisement is of Miss World. Just few days after her declaration as Miss World, and she is a doctor. He had come out with this advertisement of Rajnikandha Pearl. So both these are the surrogate advertisement. That's a kind of surrogate advertisement we see every day in so many channels in our televisions. WHO especially warned that the children and adolescents who use electronic cigarettes, e-cigarettes, they are especially at the risk of going from e-cigarettes to smoking cigarettes. And e-cigarettes, they are not without harm, they are equally addictive as the other cigarettes. So this is the way this advertisement has been taken from the Amazon. So the way e-cigarettes are being propagated and they are so easily available despite there is a ban from the government of India. But these are very easily available, and you order the e-cigarette and you'll get the delivery the next day, and they are offering so much discount on their MRPs, and unfortunately, there are not many controls. In one of the reviews about the progression of tobacco epidemic in India on national and regional level, which surveyed the data over 20 years, it was found that while, with this statement which I have discussed earlier, while tobacco use declined in the majority of states, we observe high and increasing use for men in northeastern states of Manipur, Mizoram, and Nagaland, and for women in western state of Gujarat and northeastern state of Manipur, and even more states with an increasing prevalence in either tobacco smoking or smokeless tobacco. So there is a compressed tobacco epidemic in which prevalence of tobacco consumption has increased and decreased simultaneously for women and men over a comparatively short period of time. So both genders, male and female, they are facing, they are going through this problem. So no population is immune from using tobacco. National Institute of Health of USA has designated that alcohol use has also been one of the epidemic inside the COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, opioid has been well recognized as an epidemic. So in that background, so we are having a epidemic of substance use disorders across different psychoactive substances. And during the COVID pandemic years, that is 2020 and 2021, there was increase in the number of alcohol-related deaths from the pre-pandemic period of 2019. So in 2020 and 2021, there was an increase in the alcohol-related deaths. These figures are from United States of India. How common is substance use in India? National Drug Dependence Treatment Center at AIMS had conducted a nationwide survey in which was supported by Ministry of Social Justice. Its findings were published in 2019. Survey was conducted in 2017 and 18. And we found that nearly 15% of the Indian population uses alcohol, and about 5% are problem users, and 2.7% are dependent users. Cannabis, there were 2.8% users. Cannabis was the most commonly used drug, and problem users were nearly 0.7%, both for opioids and cannabis. And dependent users were about 0.25%. For tobacco, the figures are from the other survey, like nearly 28% use tobacco, 10% smoke, and 21% use smokeless tobacco. This data is from the Global Adults Tobacco Survey, GATS, this figure of 2016-17. There are nearly 8.5 lakh injection drug users in India. So in India, if we go compare the illicit drugs across different countries, across the international figures from world or Asia. In India, the opioid use is the problematic opioid use more common in the 10 to 75 population, and the cannabis is second. Whereas internationally, the cannabis is the commonest illicit drug used. Now, sharing this, this is a survey which was conducted in around 2002 to 2003 by NAMS, supported by WHO. This found that direct and indirect costs attributable to alcohol dependence, they are more than 3 times the profits of alcohol taxation and several times more than the annual budget. So, the government which earns revenue, but it spends much more than the revenue earned on treatment of illnesses which occur due to substance use. So it's a fallacy that that the substance production of alcohol and tobacco is generates revenue. Rather, we spend much more on the health costs. Industry also has dual standards. Industry comes with the concept of safe consumptions like e-cigarettes, filter cigarettes, and these have been found to be equally harmful as the earlier cigarettes. Surrogate advertisements. Industry often supports sporting events. There is a strong nexus between industry and those in power. So there are so many things which are happening, and there is industry sometimes promotes that there is a safe drinking. If you drink just one pack every day, that is safer. But there is no there is no safe alcohol intake. I shared these pictures earlier. The role of media is very important. Media needs to be responsible and avoid surrogate advertisements. But unfortunately, this is continuing. One of the positive development in our country has been this is going on of I think nearly 20 years. This sentence, the smoking and drinking are dangerous to health, these days are put in all scenes of showing smoking and drinking in movies or TV serials. So this is one of the very important welcome steps which has been taken by the government. So there is not enough evidence to promote drinking of alcohol beverages, even at so-called responsible level. This is more of a trick from the industry that there is a safe drinking. There is nothing like safe drinking. Here I'll like to share two of, I don't know, I don't think that many of you would be recognizing these. The above picture is of late Kundan Lal Sehgal, who was probably the first superstar of Bollywood of 1940s. This is pre-independence. He died sometime in 1946-47. He was in early 40s, and somebody had told him that if you sing after drinking, your voice improves. And in that background, he continued drinking just to improve his singing. Second picture is of Shri Hemant Kumar, very famous singer of Bollywood, originally from West Bengal, and he would smoke before singing, because people had told him that your voice improves after you smoke. So these are the kind of misconceptions that alcohol improves stage performance, alcohol improves sexual performance. Another very common statement which you will find in some of our patients, they will say, "Doctor, मैं तो सिर्फ beer पीता हूँ." Yeah, so nobody realizes that how much alcohol one bottle or one can of beer is. There are misconceptions like BD helps bowel movements. Patients as well as families don't perceive drug use as a medical issue, and they engage in denial until they develop serious medical issues, malignancies, or say alcohol liver disease. And so people don't come for help. And there is often another misconception that one can stop use by willpower. So these are so many myths and misconceptions which need to be removed by constant awareness programs. Substance use disorders are one of the important contributors to years lived lost to life. Like contribution of substance use disorders is almost 4 times the mental disorders when years lost to life is concerned. So they are much more, their contribution to the mortality is much higher than the mental disorders. And they're also very disabling, contributing to or nearly 4 years lived with disability across all medical diseases. Now, why people use drugs? There could be a number of reasons. curiosity. This is more common in teens, adolescents. An adolescent sees some movie star smoking, drinking on television, or so there is a curiosity. Sometimes you see peers and you start, there is a pressure from the peers that you should use it, and so that matter of curiosity. Sometimes they feel that it's a stress reliever. Peer pressure, festivities, they're common. Just say after exams or marriages, birthday parties. Sometimes amongst the adolescents or say young students, this would be said that this is a sign of strength. If you're able to drink, if you're able to smoke, that's a sign of strength. It builds up performance. So there are so many misconceptions associated with the which lead to people to start using drugs. So, use of most psychoactive substances starts as a socialization or recreational activity. Society perceives that the user has control over his or her habit, so it can go. It's a just by one strong will, one can stop the use of drugs. It has been well established that etiology has both psychosocial as well as biological causes. So there's definitely need of medical treatment, which is often multidisciplinary, and so any person who is using drugs, they needs a medical. This is a medical disorder. This is an illness and needs treatment. And genetic loading has also been now established, which further supports the medical model. And substance use has both biological, psychological, and sociological factors which lead to the disorder. There's a lot of stigma and discrimination due to substance use. It exacerbates social alienation. It adversely impacts multiple domains of life, such as employment. So many people lose job. It's responsible absenteeism, uh, uh, housing, and social relationships. Your marital life gets turmoil, goes in turmoil. Leads to poor physical, mental health. Alcohol use has been associated with depression, high suicide risk, violence, and myths and misconceptions often prevent person from accessing treatment. I remember one of my patients, one of the parents who was bringing his 12-year-old son for treatment, and he himself was a biomedical professional, but he never disclosed about his problem. And after I think after 2 or 3 years of treatment, this person committed suicide. But his wife kept on telling him that you seek treatment for your alcohol problem and your depression, but he never came for treatment, and the family suffered. He was bringing his son for treatment, but he never sought treatment for himself. So such is the stigma, and sometimes people avoid treatment, avoid seeking treatment. So this is such a problem. So that is this myths and misconception lead to so many issues, and that increases the morbidity associated with morbidity, disability associated with the illness. So developing strategies for addiction-related problem is a big challenge, since the problem is deeply ingrained in the society since the civilization started. Now, is prohibition is an answer? No. Just a few days ago, there was the state of Bihar is having prohibition for nearly, I think, more than 10 years. Recently, just last week, there was a paper, there was a news item, news feature, not item, news feature in the Times of India. There was a person who goes back to Bihar, stays there for 2 weeks, and he's able to get alcohol everywhere. So people are crossing Ganga River near Balia, and they are getting alcohol in the boats from across the border. They are crossing Nepal border, they're crossing West Bengal border, and they are able to get. So prohibition is probably not an answer. Is it possible to stop substance use? Definitely yes. So you need strong determination. You need to seek help, but definitely it can be stopped. There's so many success stories. From the public health point, the problem is dealt in three ways: supply reduction, demand reduction, and harm reduction. And supply reduction is you reduce the supply, you increase the cost of the alcohol, so that would help to some extent. But you can't have a prohibitive cost because that would lead to more of production of illicit liquor. Demand reduction is that raising awareness programs, providing treatment, and then harm reduction is when the person is not able to control. So opioid maintenance treatment, that's one of the approaches which is being used. And this has been introduced at the national level also. So there are high risk groups like injection drug users, commercial sex workers, and sexual person who in the homosexuals. So we need dedicated prevention and treatment service. Certain population groups need specific services like homeless, street children, preventive efforts, educational awareness programs. They should start at the level of academic institutions like schools and colleges. Prisons also have a high prevalence of drug use but very poor service support. So these are the different areas where strategies need to be developed, and this is a big challenge. Now, coming to this new emerging pandemic, that is of behavioral addictions. In last 10 years, 10 or 15 years, it has become a very important public health problem. Number of ways it has emerged: internet gaming, mobile addiction, compulsive sexual behavior, gambling, cyberbullying. So many ways it's coming up. Internet gaming disorder is being debated as a new diagnostic entity. Surveys have shown nearly 4 to 20% of adolescent population suffers from internet gaming disorder, and nearly 12% of the adults. One survey has found that 63% of teens exchange text messages daily. 22% log into social media more than 10 times daily. Over 90% teens are online, and 80% use social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and so on. More than 90% children use cell phones for going online and text messaging. Sexting, use of text messaging or other means to post sexually explicit photos has been reported in 20% of teens. So a constructive use of internet for in education, in administration, in information sharing is acceptable. So, but it is going much beyond that. So there's a need to create awareness amongst that. It's leading to so many other mental health issues. People would keep on using internet till late night, and it's affecting the sleep habits of the general population and raising the risk of number of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, adjustment disorders. It's also leading to the relationship problems, and so thus there is a need to control the behavior. This is a clip from Times of India just a few days ago, I think of last Monday, in which they shared the study that excessive screen time is linked to everyday tantrums in kids. Even young mothers, they would put something going on screen before a child, before an infant who is just 9 months, 10 months old, so that the infant does not cry and does not call for the mother. So that kind of thing has become very common. So the parenting or the parents also need to be told that they should not be indulging in this kind of behavior, especially for the infants and preschoolers. They should not be giving the mobile screens to such a young children. At one time, the landline phone that united the family. Once a phone would come at home, all the family members would be around the phone and trying to catch hold of the phone and or say would try to listen. And now mobile has divided the family. Even around the dining table, all the four or five members, they would be having a phone and not conversing, talking to each other. So that's a kind of divide the mobile phone has created. So we need to have strategies at managing behavioral addictions, psychoeducational strategies, sensitizing the general public, the youth, children, and adolescents in the schools and colleges, parents, and general society. For problematic behaviors, problematic cases, cognitive behavior therapy may need to be introduced. So, motivational interviewing, motivational enhancement, these are the strategies which need to be used for in the problematic cases of behavioral addictions. Model of public health approach, starting from the primary prevention, universal prevention targeted for general population, indicated prevention for high-risk groups like children or substance users, targeted prevention for those at early stages of use, early identification and effective treatment, then harm reduction and relapse prevention in the cases who have not been able to control their substance use despite undergoing treatment. So these are the ways we need to deal with the problem of addiction. Prevention needs to be alcohol and tobacco are the two gateway substances. Alcohol, tobacco, as well as cannabis, they are the gateway substances. So controls have been started on these substances. And prevention strategies need to focus on adolescents because the substance use often starts during adolescence. This conventional model of supply reduction, demand reduction, and harm reduction is discussed. Intervention should start at the school level, addressing risk factors and building protective factors. This should start at early age, continue throughout the childhood and adolescence, should be developmentally age appropriate, should not include only education awareness, but also focus on developing social and emotional competence. The student, the child should be taught how to say no when someone offers a drug to the child. Teachers need to be trained to provide strategies for developing social and emotional competence in the children. And children with behavioral academic difficulties, they should be identified and there should be counselors in the school who can take up counseling of the patient, of the children who have academic problems or behavioral problems, because these put the child at high risk to start substance use. Life skill programs focus on development of understanding of normative behavior. That substance use is not a common phenomenon and usual behavior. Sometimes the students, the young child thinks that substance use is a common thing, because so many people on, say, TV screens or cinema screens, they are abused, smoking, drinking. So this means this is a common problem. This is a common phenomenon. This is normative behavior. So they need to be told this is not a normative behavior. They need to taught refusal skills. And all these approaches should be participatory, based on peer learning and not prescriptive in nature. High-risk adolescents, especially those with academic difficulties, with behavioral problems, or psychiatric comorbidity like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, conduct disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, they should be identified. Teachers need to be sensitized to identify and such children and refer to the school counselor. Parents need to be sensitized, especially in the parent-teachers meeting. They should have adequate supervision of children, should monitor the child is spending too much time in the washroom, is coming late, or is missing classes, not completing homework, had stopped or spending too much time on phone or too much time on texting. Or so these are the things which the parents need to take care of and should identify and seek help if they notice any of these issues. Same way, in community settings, we need to have preventive interventions, mass media messages focusing on tobacco and alcohol use, especially amongst youth and women in productive age group, preventive messages through different settings. Religious and spiritual organizations help can also be taken. youth programs, workplace setting, because alcohol is sometimes because it affects occupational functioning. So workplace interventions where the problem can be identified and the interventions can be started. Parenting programs, interventions with high risk youth, especially the high risk population like school dropouts, street children, children of substance use users, children from disturbed family environments, vocational guidance and training, especially for the school dropouts. So these are the different approaches which need to be undertaken for different groups of high risk population and also for the general public. Media has very important role. Unfortunately, media is not playing that role. It needs to be responsible, avoid surrogate advertisements. Movies should not glamorize smoking and drinking. Government of Ireland has taken very important initiative. Like India, most places we are having a text like smoking is injurious to health on the packs or the cigarettes. So beginning 2026, all containers of beer, wine, and liquor sold in Ireland will be required by law to bear a label in red capital letters like this, with two warning that there is a direct link between alcohol and fatal cancers. So we are having such messages on the tobacco, on cigarettes, but not on alcohol. So drinking alcohol causes liver disease. So these two messages would be, they have made it compulsory from 2026. The government of Ireland has taken this step. So these kind of steps the governments need to take. WHO has come with the Empower initiative. Empower is like this M refers to monitor tobacco use and prevention policies, protect people from tobacco smoke. Secondary smoke is also one of the major problems. Offer help to quit tobacco use, warn about dangers of tobacco, enforce bans on tobacco advertisement, and raise taxes on tobacco. Some of these policies, they are being undertaken by the government, but WHO especially emphasized this Empower. In fact, asking a simple screening question, do you smoke, on every visit from the patients, by every doctor, whether you are in primary care or secondary care, whichever discipline you are, that it has been seen that simple asking of this question that helps in sensitizing the public, sensitize the patient, and seeking help. The World Drug Report of 2024 has come with there is a separate chapter, drug use and rights to health. So it says that protecting the right to health of people who use drugs, their family members and communities, entails an approach that respects and enhances the well-being of each individual with no stigma and discrimination. So World Drug Report 2024 has specifically said that it's a right of people who use drugs to seek health facilities, and the governments, they need to create facilities for persons who are using drugs. There will be a number of policy initiatives in India, starting from when the heroin epidemic started. Heroin use started in 1980s. So India came out with the Narcotics Control Bureau in 1986, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985. Drug de-addiction program was started in 1988, under which the National Drug Dependence Treatment Center was started. At that time, it was de-addiction center, and there were also addictions and de-addiction centers started at PGI Chandigarh, and number of medical colleges had started the small de-addiction units. National Tobacco Control Program came in 2007. Recently, Government of India has come with the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, which was started in 2019. Number of activities are being undertaken under these. So here I would like to conclude. There is a need to recognize the emerging pandemic of psychoactive drugs at all levels, the state, the community, and the health professionals. We need to sensitize the community to the ill effects of drugs. There need to take responsible actions at the level of state. Early intervention, especially prevention, needs to be stressed. And school and workplace-based interventions targeting the high-risk population, all these are the strategies which need to be undertaken. With these, I conclude. I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this very informative and much needed session. This will definitely boost the knowledge of all the participants. There are several questions, sir, which have been asked in the chat box. I'll read out the questions,
Yeah.
sir. Sir,
So,
uh, so the first question is, thank you, sir, for covering this topic. Sir, what's your take on policies of complete ban on alcohol? Do they benefit in overall reduction of alcohol consumption of the state? So this was the
very
question.
good question. Yeah, this is a very good question. And as I said that just few days ago, there was a feature in Times of India which uh, uh, which criticizes this policy, that despite being this policy is there, which was introduced in Bihar around 10 or 12 years ago, people are able to procure drugs using so illicit trafficking of alcohol that becomes more and more common. So this is a policy which is debatable. Like the Haryana state had also come out with the prohibition policy sometime in I think 97 or 98, but they withdrew it after a year. So that leads to trafficking of illicit liquor, and then so many deaths occur due to methanol poisoning. So I think it's better to have control measures like which need to be introduced strictly. That one is the cost of alcohol should be put a bit on higher side, and there should not be a sale of alcohol to the say below 21 or age, or so those kinds of policies. Uh, like government has been encouraging now bars to be open 24 hours or till late night till 3 or 4 a.m. Every second day we hear of an accident happening at 5 or 6 a.m. in the or say late midnights, and the car driver was drunk. So I think those kind of restrictions should be put, that drunken driving needs to be controlled. Alcohol shops should not be open till say restricting the timing, pricing. So some of those, and the awareness, increasing the awareness of the general public towards the ill effects of the alcohol. So those initiatives are more important rather than complete prohibition.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is a very long question from
Yeah.
Mr. Nurul Amin.
Yeah.
He commented, "Thank you for the wonderful presentation." Are you there, Dr. Nurul? No, he's not there. I'll read out for him, sir.
Yeah.
Sir. So he asked multiple questions. The first question he asked is the drug de-addiction centers are still working under the control of law and order controlling department. Can't we shift these DDC to healthcare facilities having mental health professionals like psychiatrists, psychologists, psychiatric nurses, and psychotherapists, so that the abusers don't look at themselves as criminals, discriminated population. We are training mental health professionals from the medical and nursing profession, but the post and job role for them are not specified. Can't we ask the policymakers to demarket and establish role-oriented courses only? Though we need CNEs and CMEs equally. And why, sir? I'll read out other questions later on. This is
Okay.
very long.
So the answer to the first question, de-addiction centers. The most de-addiction centers are being run by the psychiatrists. Departments of psychiatry are running addiction clinics in the hospitals or medical colleges. Then de-addiction centers in the community. There are two kinds of centers, two or three kinds of centers. There are two. Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is running drug treatment clinics, addiction treatment facilities, or Ministry of Health has started the drug treatment clinic. So these are located in the community, and these are being run by the doctors. because these two schemes, the drug treatment clinics and addiction treatment facilities, this is being monitored by the National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, which was started has been started last 6 to 7 years. And then state level also, state governments have been running de-addiction centers. So there are very few centers which are being run by the law enforcement agencies. Most of these centers are being run by the by the Department of Health. And even when they are run by the Ministry of Social Justice, they are being manned by the psychiatrists or by the medical doctors and the nurses. So that's the thing.
Thank you, sir. So next question is how the issue of surrogate marketing of tobacco, alcohol, or gambling apps can be tackled, as we see that these industrialists have huge influences, like maybe among public or the politicians.
Yes, so this is a very important question, and it's a policy matter in which the governments have role. So we what we can do is we can sensitize those who matter, like the health policy makers, or say the law enforcement agencies and say media. But definitely we don't have a direct control on this. So the persons who matter, they need to be sensitized that they need to take initiatives on this in this matter.
Sir, there is another question from Dr. Bhavnish Sani. He want to, sir, I want to talk about Punjab opioid epidemic. Even though buprenorphine maintenance is safe and one of the great options, the government now says to find alternative to buprenorphine and its termination, as it does not have money to procure more buprenorphine due to exponential rise in its demand. Please give some input on this.
So I don't know the answer to this question. Buprenorphine as such is not I'm not sure. I don't think it's a only thing is controlled over its distribution. But as such, buprenorphine tablets, they are not costly tablets. So because these are being manufactured in a large quantity, so the cost of buprenorphine as such has come down to a large extent. The other thing which has been introduced at a very selected level is methadone. Methadone is advantageous because methadone is available only in the liquid format, so it can't be dispensed it's given only at the clinic level, like AIMS and DTDC has been running methadone maintenance clinic, which is being it is being dispensed directly to the patient. So person comes and is given the small bottle, and the person takes it and goes back to the work. So, and that kind of methadone maintenance program has been going on all over the world in last 50, 60 years, since 1960s when methadone had started. So, but here it's an initiative which needs to be taken at the government level. They need to have a supply of they have to provide the medications in the regulated level at different addiction clinics.
Thanks, sir. Sir, another question from Dr. Bhavnish Sani again. Sir, we are now seeing rise in cases of gabapentinoid use in dependent pattern in different doses of pregabalin even. We manage them with benzodiazepines, anti-epileptic drugs like carbamazepine or valproate. But high dose benzodiazepine has a risk of its own dependence. Please share some guideline for treating the same.
See, there are no standard treatment guidelines for management of emerging new substances uses. So I won't be able to give any guidelines at the moment. The person, they can search on the PubMed for the recent literature, because this lecture was not on this topic. And as such, till now, there are no standard treatment guidelines. Preeti, would you like to respond if there are any guidelines on this?
Sir, as such, there is no standard guidelines as of now. The management is predominantly symptomatic at this moment because pregabalin and gabapentin addiction is actually recently uprising. So it was not the previously, once the opioid epidemic is being handled, actually pregabalin and gabapentin is uprising, and mostly it is being managed symptomatically only, like using benzodiazepines and anti-epileptic drugs only as of now. There is no other standard guidelines as of now.
Yeah. Thank you, Preeti.
Sir, next question is again from YouTube. Sir, what is the best treatment for screen addictions, mainly in limited resource setting like India, where there is lack of psychologists?
Screen addiction, the behavioral addiction, what the person is saying.
Yes, sir.
See, the most important thing is the sensitization. That is one. And the first thing is, this is not a recognized illness. Still, it's the behavioral addictions, they have not been considered a recognized illness. But we need to know when they say that there are limited number of psychologists, so there the psychiatrists need to take a lead. So the supportive approaches and distraction, restricting time, and if the person is having associated anxiety symptoms, those can be treated. Strategies like meditation, relaxation exercises, alternative methods for engagement, regular sleeping, waking hours. So basically, it's a lifestyle interventions, meditation, which can be used, and getting engaged into the alternate activities, outdoor physical exercises. So number of strategies, basically more of the distraction which can be used, and anxiety management.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. A similar question from Dr. Vinod Kumar. Sir, any advice for the parents of school children having internet addiction issues?
The same thing what I just said. One is the parents need to be observant. Parents need to be that child is going regularly to school, is not missing classes, is completing his or her homework, is going to bed at time. So basically, they have to be so that the problem does not flare up. Then they should not be say giving that mobile or TV to the child. Say they want to go out for or they are engaged in some work and they put the the mobile screen before a toddler. So those kind of approaches, because that would bring a kind of social sanction. The child thinks that this is a thing which the parents have given, so that's a safer alternative. So the parents need to be responsible, observant, and careful.
Thank you, sir. Sir, these were the questions which were put in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Sood.
Sir, now I would like to request Professor Sood for the word of thanks. Professor Sood, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jaswant. Again, sir, it was a very interesting session. I am sure that all of us, especially our students and as well as the faculty member, have really learned from it. Thank you so much for covering the topic in a very simple way, especially focusing on the preventive aspect. And we look forward for your support in future also. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you.
I will also like to thank all the participants, especially the faculty members and our students who have made this session very interactive by asking questions. So this is your own program, and we look forward for your active participation. For the information of our PG student and young faculty, that I would like to say that we have started two new activities. One is exclusively for postgraduate students. In collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research, we have started a biostatistic helpline online. So all the PG students, if you want to have some queries related to your thesis, you can always log in, and our senior expert from NAMS as well as from the ICMR, they will be happy to help you. It is free, you can register online. Second information is related to another online course, which is Artificial Intelligence in Health, especially for the younger faculty members who are technology savvy. This course is in collaboration with the Triple IIT Hyderabad, and this is online course, 12-week course, and the next session of this course is going to start from 1st of January, but you can enroll. Both this information we have put on the chat box, so those who are interested, they can please join. So please, these are very important activities which will help you in acquiring your clinical skills as well as using the artificial intelligence and information technology. Another information is related to the next session, which is on 4th of October, which is on application of our traditional medicine, how we can use this evidence-based traditional medicine for treatment. So again, this session is going to be very, very interesting. So please do join us. If you have any question, you please send us. We'll try to put it to the speaker. So I will also like to thank moderator for this session, Dr. Jaswant, who has been helping us from the very beginning. And we are really grateful to you for your support to the academy. Dr. Preeti also joined. So we are grateful to Dr. Preeti also. So here we are at NAMS, we have our IT team, Mr. Ravi and Mr. Shivam, who has been helping us in organizing this session. So once again, I thank you all and look forward for your blessing and support in the next session, which we are having 4th of October. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Jaswant.
Thank you, sir. Sir, again, thank you very much for sparing the precious time and taking out time for this wonderful and much needed topic. So with this, we can mark the closure of the session with the permission. Thank you, sir.